In chapters 31 and 32 of The Story of the Stone, Shi Xiangyun visits the Zhao household, and Cao Xueqin's characterization of the visit provides a deep insight into how Cao feels about both the household and the culture. In this specific encounter, Shi Xiangyun, an orphan, was allowed by her aunt to come visit her cousins. As she talks with her cousins and grandmother Jia, we learn that she is quite straightforward, with a cheery disposition. All of her cousins clamber to meet her, and they enjoy her company, even though they note her childish qualities, calling her tomboyish and a chatterbox. However, even at this point fairly early on in the novel, she was already outgrowing these traits. In the strict Confucian society she was raised in, women were expected to follow the four virtues for women. As Zhang Yagao mentions in her feminist critique of Confucianism, the four virtues are sexual morality, proper speech, modest manner, and diligent work. Xiangyun grew into a respectable young Confucian woman. She treats her cousins and her elders with respect, and is diligent in her work, even though it is mentioned several times that she is overworked by her aunt and uncle. She even keeps the maids of others in mind. In fact, she visits the Jia household in chapter 31 because she had rings to bring for four of the maids. She also tries to put Bao Yu on the right track in a Confucian sense, chiding him for not caring for his things, joking after finding a lost Kylin that one of these days it will be his seal of office that he would lose if he wasn't more careful. Xiangyun also cultivates within herself a respect for the Taoist principles of yin and yang. She actually explains the concept of this balance to Kingfisher after meeting with her cousins, saying everything in the world is molded by the forces of yin and yang. That means that all the thousands and thousands of variations we find in things are caused by different combinations of yin and yang. While she is somewhat childish yet, her knowledge and forthrightness make her seem quite wise for her years. Given that Xiangyun seems to have done everything right, one might expect her to receive the reward of a kind fate, which Cao seems to be angling towards, by giving her a companionate marriage. However, her wonderful life with her husband is cut short, as her husband passes away when they have only been married for a year. Why would Cao give such a sad fate to a woman who seems to be the ideal woman of her time? The answer becomes quite clear when the reader remembers Cao Xueqin's motivations in writing the novel. Hawk quotes Cao Xueqin in the introduction to his translation of the novel, as he ruminates on his past and the girls he grew up with. He says, "What was to prevent me from turning it all into a story and writing it in the vernacular? In this way, the memorial to my beloved girls could serve as harmless entertainment, and as a warning to those who were in need of awakening." The novel serves as a critique of the Confucian society of the day through the fates of the many beloved girls. Particularly in Xiangyun's case, the critique here is that the current society is extremely hypocritical. There are many aspects to Confucianism, but the one that is most railed upon by Bao Yu and Dai Yu, two of the characters who speak more freely in their critique of society, is Li. Park describes this term in her explanation of Confucian societal expectations. She says, Li defines the boundaries of proper behavior, provides opportunities for satisfying desires of moral agents within these boundaries, and encourages the development of noble character that embodies cultural refinement and communal concerns. While this particular aspect is not necessarily negative, it can quickly become a process of stuffy, harmful, and shallow rituals in which women in particular have little to no control of their circumstances, living out relatively inane or heartbreakingly cruel existences. In the same article, Park mentions that Confucian teachers criticize the notion of Li without Ren, altruism, or Yi, righteous intention. Confucius emphasized the embodiment of virtue by self-cultivation over superficial etiquette or shallow acts focused on petty details. In this way, Cao seems to be siding with many scholars in saying that the balance so stressed by the great thinkers in Chinese society had been breaking down. While Cao Xueqin was in no way a feminist in the ways which we would describe this word, his work was groundbreaking in critiquing a society where the fates of women, no matter how upright they were incredibly grim. It seems that Cao hoped to provide a call to the whole of society to wake up and, in doing so, create a world where there is hope for the fates of young women like Shi Xiangyun.